Windbreaker Season 2, Episode 2, titled Concussion. And I gotta say, this episode hit heavy both in terms of fists, but also in terms of feels. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back for Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Windbreaker Season 2, Episode 2. And I gotta say, this episode was even better than the first episode. And the first episode was almost immaculate in my eyes. They did so many good things, right? The music is hitting, the fights are delivering. We're hitting several emotional, impacting scenes, and we're kind of seeing some of our characters finally add layers to what they were. Season 1, we saw, the base layer of who everybody is. And now we're adding on that secondary layer where they're actually getting some kind of character development, which is really nice to see. Because some animes, Tokyo Revengers, there never was any really layers added on. It was just here's your base layer, that's it. There's not really any extra building upon our characters as things kind of went. This in 2 seasons, despite only being 2 episodes, has already delivered far more than that show actually did. But as far as Windbreaker is concerned, we're seeing that Kaji really turned out to be someone not to just absolutely throw around. He is fighting, for all intents and purposes, we know at this time, the head of Keel. And Keel is definitely an organization that I thought was going to be more menacing. I haven't read the source material, but that's definitely something once the season ends, I'm going to try and go ahead and get caught back up on for you, the viewers. This show has delivered so many great moments already. We saw several high impacting fights. And we got to see that the five chosen, so to speak, of the first class really know how to handle business. It just takes them a moment to absolutely get back in the situation that they need to be. Because to be honest, having narrate where we had him kind of put one of our main guys in a huge pickle last episode, I don't even know why he bothered going inside. At the same time, maybe he was the one who reached out to the upperclassmen. Who knows? There's definitely a huge series of questions in my mind regarding that. But we got to see Kaji finally in action. We see as like the fights kind of breaking out as things are, kind of escalating further. We see that Kaji is having a moment with Shinjo Natori. Natori is someone who is definitely a masochist. He loves and craves violence. He's someone who just adores the act of violence. He's exactly the same way Joker is in DC Comics. The more you hit Joker, the more you punish the Joker, the more he loves it. It's his bag, so to speak. It's who he is. He enjoys that he's able to get that emotional rise out of you that only violence can solve. And it takes very, very high echelon of people not to be able to rise to such an occasion because when you think you're delivering what should be, a finishing blow to someone, or you should be able to knock them down a peg, ultimately they're just able to just take it, eat it, and then next thing you know, they're hysterically laughing at you like a psychopath. And next thing you know, it kind of makes you question exactly what you have going on and your resolve in order to finish these sorts of fights, these moments, these kind of skirmishes, if you will. And Shinjo is trying to appeal to who Kaji used to be. Kaji says that he was someone who would get bullied from time to time, and then he would just hit this emotional berserker state. And next thing you know, once he had calmed down, he'd realize that everyone who had been bullying him, no matter the numbers, they were down and out and just knocked out. And he was just there. And it revolted him. It made him upset. It made him sick to his stomach that he would go to these places and just have these animalistic and violent nature brought out of him forcefully to where he'd have to defend himself, and in doing so would probably take things a step or two farther than what he initially wanted to have play out. So him showing emotional growth in this episode was absolutely fantastic. We saw that Sakura had significant growth as well because Kaji punched him in the face, and he was just like, you know what? You're right. I wasn't looking out for my classmen. I wasn't looking out for my peers. I wasn't being a good leader. I wasn't doing anything that Farine really stood for. So now that he's kind of had that moment of realization, him and the whole squad just rallies. Sugashita absolutely demolishes the kid that was punishing him. We see that each and every fighter all the way throughout was able to handle their business and in spades. And we're seeing that there's a whole new layer to one of my favorite characters, the earrings wearing fighter. My goodness. He is cold. and cold to the point that I'm kind of curious about where his character arc is supposed to go, because he walked right past Sakura like nothing was going on. Like there was no moment in time for him to go ahead and even do anything to stop him. He was just ready to go and end this dude's life that he'd been fighting. Maybe it was just an emotional reaction to everything involving there, or this was just something more to it. Maybe he just, when he hits that level, he just hits that Kaji zone where ultimately he's just unhinged. But Sakura actually stops him from, going above and beyond what the violence called for. And then we had the weird 180 flip, but then everything kind of sorted itself out. So that's something I think they left on out purposely, so we can kind of see how his character is going to develop further on throughout. And we see that Furine was able to handle their business, even though Kaji had to go into his berserker animalistic state and nature in order to handle Shinjo. Shinjo is a very good fighter, but at the same token, he's not probably on the same echelon as the upperclassmen of Furine are. So we saw that things kind of got handled rather quickly and rather efficiently. Sure, Kaji took several beatings, and he had to have Furine badmouth to his face for him to unlock this nature of himself. But once that happened, he went all out and was able to handle him within 9 punches. So basically, he owes Sakura an apology because he didn't get that 10th punch out. But Shinjo was unconscious. There was, at that point, you're just, kicking a dead horse, so to speak. There's absolutely no reason for you to keep doing this, but at the same time, like, he definitely deserved it. It's that gray moral area we kind of end up in. And as the fight kind of has its resolution, we see that Anzai is finally starting to wake up. The entire class of Furine, the first years and 3 of those second years, we're just all kind of gathered around him, and he's like, "Look, you need to talk. Anzai, have your conversation with Nagato, and let's try and settle things out." Nagato is feeling completely unworthy. He's like, "I've done heinous things. I've done horrible actions. They can't be undone. I don't know why you bothered saving someone. Why would everyone try and save a wretch like me? I've done unspeakable things. I'm not forgivable. I pushed you away. I pushed Uchiha away. I made sure to be alone in my darkness because who I am as a person wasn't worth saving." Come to find out that Anzai and was about to have said something, but Sakura's like, "Hey, I don't care your reasons. Ultimately, I didn't want to even come here for you. Tsuchiya was crying for you, and that reasoned for me. Anzai was pleading for you, and that was enough for me. So we did what we always do at Furine. We protect our friends and those that they value," which is a huge growing moment for Sakura because, once we saw him in season 1, all he cared about was being the best. Now he's starting to care genuinely about the people that he's around, and he's really seeing his evolution not only as a person, but as a fighter and as a leader. And we're seeing that he was able to kind of soften up at the end because most people are like, hey, he's going to go too far. But ultimately, Kaji saw that, hey, let him speak, let him go, let him cook, so to speak. And ultimately, we see that Anzai and Nagato have their reconciliation. And now we're kind of left with this big blank as to how this episode is going to play out for the rest of the season. Because if we're already done with Keel, who's the next big bad around the corner? Or is Keel going to come back and have some kind of round 2 where they have even more things going on at this time? A lot of main questions on my mind. My main question is, why was the episode out an hour late? It said 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, dropped at 11:30. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're unsubscribed to the channel. You just listened to me ramble for almost 9 minutes. Clearly, there's something in the content here that you love, and enjoy. I'm Brett for Geek Variants. I'll see you in the next one.